Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some pretty interesting stuff to go and do a deep dive into and talk about. Now, every now and then we have a chance to go and see these editorials and people kind of just being honest with their thoughts and opinions and everything else with that. And this is one of those big takes where I've gotten to look through this and I've kind of had a chance to experience this article and people kind of expressing their opinions. And at the end of the day, I do kind of agree. Now, this is all in regards to how someone came out here and talked about how they literally regret buying like a PlayStation 5 and how Sony themselves actually has a big push into why they even regret it in the first place. And now, obviously, I've had a chance to kind of critique some of these different things and some of these like little small things and et cetera, but it does kind of seem like it's spreading out more and more and more throughout the gaming community. Now, I'm going to go preemptively go and say I actually really do enjoy my PS5, and also I really like the exclusives, obviously, especially after coming off that last day to play. There's a lot of games out there like the Harry Potter game, God of War Ragnarok, and a lot of other various games I want to play. Although I do technically agree that there's a lot of business practices and how Sony treats their consumer is a little bit on the rougher side. So I would love to hear your thoughts and comments as we kind of dive into this and give our thoughts and opinions on it. And as well, let me know if you guys agree or disagree. At the end of the day, though, I just enjoy playing games, and I'm not really necessarily console or system specific. As long as there's good games, which Sony does have, I'll probably enjoy it. But I do agree a lot of business practices have been pushing it just a little bit too much. And as well, if any of you guys are brand new, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on, as well for the brand new PlayStation 5 giveaway. Amazon links down below, Target links down below, and of course, like I said, the Twitter and Twitch stream. And let's dive on into why Sony makes us all regret the PlayStation 5. So, this one, we actually have an article over here from Carl Smart saying how Sony made them regret getting a console. The PlayStation 5 launched on the 12th of November 2020, which is getting close to 2 years. I still can't even believe that. And thanks to the pandemic of the spicy cough, precautions were put in place, so people who are lucky enough to get the pre-order for Sony's powerful and not so shiny gaming machine could go pick them up without the unusually long lines and fanfare that used to come with the gaming consoles too as well, so midnight releases and all that type of stuff. And funny enough, still a lot of folks are still trying to get their consoles, although thankfully these past few weeks/months were a little bit better. So basically, they were able to go get a console right off the launch, and they had it since launch day, and they had a chance to go play other games with, like, say, Spider-Man 2 as well, and other various games like Resident Evil, and all that type of stuff. His wife, a big lover of streamer media, was using the console to basically purchase and stream her Netflix movies and shows, and then using shows like The Mandalorian on Disney Plus and all that type of stuff. So a lot of folks are saying, like, this is a good console, it's good variety, etc. But as of right now, truth that I'm actually moving, the PlayStation 5 just sits in the lounge room, connected to the biggest TV in the room, just not being used, just all gathering up dust. And here's kind of the reasons why, and let's go talk about why they regret the PS5. High price of games. Yes, absolutely. So they're in Australia too, but this also does go and equate down to America, European countries and all that type of stuff, Canada, etc. So the land of the price gouge, and they've actually been having to pay even extra, I believe, too, which is even worse. So whatever we're having to feel, like, even on top of that, they've been paying on average around 80 to 100 Australian dollars for video games since Super Nintendo era. That's what we get when everything, price-wise, is controlled by the US dollar, being used as a central currency in the world and on the stock exchange. Although, I guess is becoming standard industry as all others, prices are going up. Game development isn't a cheap industry anymore, which I agree, like things are expensive, you have to pay your devs to make sure everything's happy. As the price of technology has increased, so has also the cost of making a video game. And what used to cost a few $1,000s or a couple million is now pushing tens or $100 million to make a game. So obviously they want to make their money back. So with this, Sony decided to increase the cost of buying one of their games from $100 to a minimum of $120 or $125. And as well, that also does relate to the American price points of going to $60 to $70 plus tax in pretty much most states. And that's only for standard editions, let alone deluxe editions, microtransactions, DLCs, and everything else tied on in. And as we have all these big games out here that are pushing these collector's editions or extra DLCs or just the baseline $70 price point, it's just getting to be too much. So they even say Sony for a time negated this increase in cost by allowing owners to select an upcoming PS4 titles, which are still priced at $100 each, so a cheaper price, and then also upgrade their copy to a PS5 version for free. And ever since then, they've also been pretty much phasing that out or making you have to go and cost more money. So once again, people are just upset with these price points, and I still think that Last of Us remake at $70 was still, in my mind, way too much. And they're just they're basing more based on just a recommended retail price. And as well, they also didn't like the interface, which I'm kind of surprised on because I don't think it's too bad, although I think it can be better. And we're even seeing Xbox themselves trying to make their new interface and UI even nicer too, as of like literally this month. So once you have the PS5 all set up to go, you're left with one of the most annoying, semi-complex user interfaces. Now this might, like, I agree on the price points, and I'm sure a lot of you guys do too as well, but I think the UI kind of mostly makes sense. Now sometimes I have it in the PS Plus or PlayStation Store a little bit longer, but like it's nothing where it's like, oh my god, it's going to take me an hour. It might take me an extra like 30 seconds or so. So I could respect his point, but I feel like it's not too bad. So basically for this one, they had the PlayStation 3 UI, which was compact and small and tidy and easy to use too as well. Plus it was customizable with your personal taste. The PS4 got a bit more restrictive, but everything was front and center with folders you can use to organize your games and suit your taste or whatever. And then you have the PS5, which they say is a mess. Now, the one thing I wish I could have more of is the customization. I miss the themes so bad. If they gave that back to me, that'd be one of the biggest news out there. So they go and say that the single line of recently played games or used applications, and they're like, well, what's the point of this? Why is it in front and center? Like, why is the PlayStation Store #1? Every time you boot up the PlayStation Store, you have to go and see the store. And like, that does make sense. You want to get back to the normal games you want to play? Nope, got to go through the store. You got to go through everything else, go through settings, go through general menus, whatever. You got to go through the store. And in all honesty, that is a little bit annoying, but I do think they want to fix that with their new pin system and like favorite game system. But it is kind of annoying. You literally every single time have to go through this. Like, it'd be kind of nice to have this just on the tail end, and then like maybe the games get added on from the left. This is always on the right, same with settings and such. I'd probably prefer that to myself. And a lot of folks do get upset by that because they want to have these things, you know, on top of this. But they do have the folders too, as they're critiquing it out here too as well. But on the same side too, at the end of the day, it could be a little bit nicer. Or at least they can still change it. And I love this little picture they have. So the PlayStation Plus redesign. And this is also another big critique that I've seen a lot of folks have, where the PlayStation Plus was pretty chill and was pretty vibey before, where they would, you know, give... It just was a big competitive side. But ever since there's been a big Game Pass push, which has been a good deal still, they really haven't had a chance to give so much. So they say back in the PlayStation 3 era, they'd give you 2 games a month with the approximate value of like $50-ish, while those titles being top-level AAA developed titles with some indie games. It's also continuing the PS4 era too as well, on top of that, with also exclusivities and stuff like that, such as like Rocket League. But now, with the PS5 era, they're kind of critiquing on how a lot of these games are kind of mediocre. You know, you're getting like weird games kind of ish, like say Oddworld, which wasn't bad. You sometimes get these weird bestsellers too as well, and like they kind of just decide not to go and do it. And then they have the chance to overhaul into this new PS Plus. And I also do kind of agree where I kept on saying it'd be so, and I doubt they would ever do it, even now, definitely not, but it would have been so nice to have, like, day one games available for $20 and all that. Like, even at a higher price point, I probably would have paid for it, and I probably would have kept it longer. And that's the one big thing, too, is they also don't have good things with, like, backwards capability. A lot of those games aren't still added as of right this second. Like, they don't have a lot of these actual options. It's, like, a lot of regional issues. There was bugs when it first launched, which kind of shows the product was rough. And once again, it still is expensive, and there's probably not that many people on the higher tiers of all of these things. Like, I wouldn't even doubt it if there was, like, the ratio is under, like, 5%. Like, it's just expensive, and you don't really get that much, or if you do, it's only good for a few months or so. You kind of go through the streamable content or old games, and you kind of move in with that. So once again, they're like, bro, I'm not even going to go pay for this anymore because what's the point? I'm just going to go play my single-player games I got my console for, and I'm probably going to be chilling. They're literally going to end their service on top of that. Now, I'll probably still be, at the end of the day, you know, keeping it, but that's just me because I do a lot of YouTube and Twitch and stuff and all that. And last but not least, they also had the price increase too, which in my honest opinion, they had a few more, but like they had a lot of these pricing things. And in Australia, China, Japan, UK, etc., they have price increases, which sucks. And like us in America, we're kind of blessed. We don't have to deal with that. But imagine like you've been waiting for a console for literally 2 years. You'd be expecting more of a price decrease rather than a price increase. And as well as also them trying to push a lot more of these bundles, like the Horizon bundles, I can see why people, especially in Australian boyo, being upset in this because they're just kind of just being like, well, people are going to probably pay for it anyway. Might as well. And they made their console go from $750 to $800 too as well, but basically at the same time too, it's just so much more money. Like, it's just a lot of money. They had price points going up. It just wasn't good for the Australian homies. And they also are still waiting for a lot of these games too as well. Now, I still think game-wise, too, they have God of War coming up soon, or like a lot of other various games Forspoken. They've had things like Ratchet and Clank, etc. And while there is a lot of good games, too, on top of this, I think this is a little bit of a light critique. We'll have to see how the Xbox conference does, because I do think there's actually one coming in the next 1 or 2 days or so. But at the end of the day, I still think at least PlayStation's been trying their best, at least for proper new games. So at least that one's a little bit more on the voter side. I think the hard drive side too as well. Like I kind of agree a lot more with the initial ones. I think the hard drive side though isn't too bad, because you can't always just remove stuff. And at the end of the day, it's more so on the games themselves being just bigger. So then Call of Duty and all that type of stuff too as well. And of course too, I do kind of agree though on this last point. Obviously, a business wants to make money, but it does kind of seem like Sony, as of recently, with the expensive games, not having a good thing with Game Pass, trying to work with antitrust lawsuits, everything with Xbox too as well, like it does kind of seem to see like they're just trying their best to make as much money as they can and try to push up as like an Apple of the gaming community, where people are going to buy stuff no matter what, they're going to pay for accessories no matter what, they're going to buy our games no matter what, because we're the best, and it does kind of take away a lot from the consumer experience. So there's a lot of things I do kind of agree where it's kind of skewing towards a bad way. Granted, I still do enjoy the PlayStation games, and I do enjoy my PS5 console, but especially in a different region with way higher price points, especially with how inflation has been, and also the USD being stronger, so someone like in Australia having a weaker currency, it's never a fun thing to really see. So, kind of give me your thoughts as well. Like, do you kind of think Sony's been on a bad trajectory? You guys kind of sad what's going on? And do you kind of agree with these talking points too as well? I really think the game pricing is a bad call. PS Plus is indifferent on. Console pricing going up is awful, and, well, hopefully we can have some more better games soon. So give me your thoughts and comments down below, as well as make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on, as well for the brand new PlayStation 5 giveaway. We have the Twitter and Twitch streams down below. We have the Weeble Coinbase targets, all that stuff down below, and I appreciate you guys all so much for watching in the first place.